balance of the earth is falling apart. We, the humans, are destroying our world and we show no sign of stopping anytime soon. We have killed hundreds of millions of other animals to make room for our own demands. Thousands of acres of forest are torn apart every day, and countless animals lose their homes or die from consuming the waste we have dumped into every medium possible. Nature, like every caring mother, has given us everything we ever asked for, saving nothing for herself. But maybe it's time we stop listening to our own greed and listen to Mother Nature instead. Good day everyone, and welcome to our video. We have come together to speak about the tragic situation planet Earth is facing today. I am Amintika, your compere for today, and the presenters lined up are Shine, Theruni, Oneli and Adisha. We are going to speak to you about the disastrous impact of human activities on the planet.
First, we have Shine Shopman, who will speak about the destruction of wildlife habitat.
Good evening, everyone. I am here to talk about how we are destroying the wildlife of our beloved planet Earth. Mother Nature is very important to us, and it is being destroyed by humans. At this very moment, while I'm talking, a large amount of forests worldwide are being destroyed by us. And this is why we celebrate Earth Day, to inspire people to stop this and to show them that this is wrong. We should protect our environment, not only on this day, but every day. We celebrated Earth Day on the 22nd of April. To be honest, if we continue down this path and keep cutting down trees and clearing forests, one day our planet, environment, and the lives of every living being will be destroyed. We should take actions to stop this. But first, we need to know how our planet is being destroyed. Some examples for how it's being destroyed are global warming, water pollution, air pollution, destruction of wildlife, and habitats. The list goes on and on. But today, I want to talk about the destruction of wildlife and their habitats. First, do you know what wildlife habitats are? Wildlife means the animals that live in the wild, and habitats means a home of an animal. We should also try to save our wildlife because animals are very important to us, not only because we need or to take resources from it, but because each animal has a right to live in our world. Animals keep our world balanced. Many animals are being killed in many ways. Because human populations are growing so fast, animals and plants are disappearing 1,000 times faster than they have in the past 65 million years. Scientists estimate that one day 100 species would be extinct every day. So we should try to learn from our mistakes, and we should try to save our wildlife by volunteering, donating, and if you don't have money to donate, you can just donate your time by speaking up and speaking the truth. Some habitats in the world are grasslands, deserts, oceans, etc. Wildlife and habitats are very important to us because if we destroy this, most animal species would be extinct and we will not have a biodiversity in our environment. Habitats can be destroyed in many ways, like by cutting down trees, clearing forests for agriculture, pollution, etc. Global warming is caused due to the high level of carbon dioxide. Global warming can affect habitats. Sea ice and glaciers are melting due to the high temperature. The habitats of many animals like polar bears, seals, and musk oxen are being destroyed because of global warming and climate change. As children, we can't do much to save our habitats and wildlife. But age doesn't matter. We should try to do our best to save it. We can recycle, be an example to others. Saving money and donating it to animal sanctuaries are things that we can do. As we love ourselves, we should love our animals and our environment. As Mahatma Gandhi said, Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greed. As the Earth provides so much for us, we should give something back to our Earth. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Shine. Next, we have Theruni Abesingha to talk about deforestation.
Good evening. I would like to begin by quoting this passage from The Lord of the Rings. Frodo laid his hand upon the tree. Never before had he been so suddenly and so keenly aware of the feel and texture of a tree's skin and of the life within it. He felt a delight in wood and the touch of it, neither as forester nor as carpenter. It was the delight of the living tree itself. Tolkien portrays nature as something that is alive, something that should be loved and cared about. But it is sad to see that no one seems to care for the woods anymore. We have begun to destroy the forests around us and as a result face a lot of problems. Water pollution, air pollution, too much heat, and too much snow. But all these disasters we talk about are related only to our survival. We are only concerned about the environment to save ourselves. We have all forgotten something important. We have forgotten that nature is alive. Like how Frodo loved to delight in the living tree itself, we must remember trees are living beings just like us. So, there's one important thing we must always remember. We must remember that we should be saving the environment, not only for ourselves, because we want to live, because our future generations must live, but for the sake of every living being on this planet. This means the smallest butterfly, the largest mammal, and even unseen bacteria. We must stop destroying trees, not only for ourselves, but because other living beings need trees, and because trees themselves are living beings. Each tree felled is just as important as the loss of a human life, or perhaps even more important. If the forests of the world were to fall, the world would come crashing down. This is why we must now dive into the forest ecosystem to see how many lives depend on a forest for existence. A lot of living beings on Earth depend on a forest for food, shelter, water, filtering carbon dioxide from the air and producing oxygen. Besides providing habitats for animals and livelihoods for humans, forests also offer watershed protection, prevent soil erosion, and mitigate climate change. Forests are home to 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity. What is amazing is that every living being in a forest has a role to play as a producer, a decomposer, or consumer. Green plants are producers. They make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. Animals, including humans, are consumers. They eat or consume plants or other animals. Bacteria and other living organisms that break down the waste material and dead tissue of animals are decomposers. They return nutrients to the soil where new plants grow. The way all these animals provide food for each other is called a food chain. If you remember, in The Lion King, Simba's new friends Pumbaa and Timon teach him about the circle of life. Zebras eat grass, lions eat zebras, then lions die and fertilize the soil for the grass to grow. This is how nature planned things. until we started to change everything. Like the Dark Lord Sauron in The Lord of the Rings, there is an evil force that threatens the forest ecosystem. It's called climate change. A changing climate may worsen many of the threats to forests, such as pest outbreaks, fires, and drought. Climate change directly and indirectly affects the growth and productivity of forests through changes in temperature, rainfall, weather, and other factors. A very large amount of carbon dioxide will also have an effect on plant growth. These changes affect forest ecosystems, and when the forest ecosystems get destroyed completely, it will be the end of Earth as we know it. What can we do to change all this? First, we must identify the enemy. Carbon dioxide is the climate's worst enemy. It's released when oil, coal, and other fossil fuels are burned for energy, the energy we use to power our homes, cars, and phones. By using less of it, we can curb our own contribution to climate change. We can make a difference by using cloth bags when you go shopping, using energy-efficient bulbs like LEDs and CFLs, and planting trees whenever possible. And if adults that we know are considering cutting down trees, we should try to prevent them from doing this by explaining the importance of trees to all life on Earth. Finally, I would like to say that sadly, the world would be a much happier and healthier place if humans didn't exist. If all humans disappeared overnight, the world and all the animals living in it would be perfectly fine. If we had never evolved from monkeys, if we had stayed apes, the world would not be burdened with any of its problems. But since we did evolve from some strange twist of fate, we should really try to save our planet. If we don't, the way things have been going recently, we should consider it lucky if we live to see 2050. If we continue to destroy Mother Nature, all living beings, including trees and other organisms that we nearly always classify as non-living, despite the fact that they are alive, have a 0% chance of survival. If we try to change our ways and start caring about things that grow, then we might have a small chance of survival. Let's do our best to do the latter, as I think a slight chance of survival is a whole lot better than no chance of survival. Let me end with another quote from The Lord of the Rings. Treebeard says, "I am not on anybody's side because nobody is on my side. Nature is standing alone and needs our help to survive. Let's all be on Treebeard's side. Let us all stand strong and fight the enemies of nature." Thank you.
Thank you, Theruni. Now we have Connery De Silva, who will discuss air pollution and its impact.
Before we jump straight into speaking about air pollution and how it's caused and its harms, let us first look at the picture for a moment. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? Millions of factories emitting smoke, which swirls around in a brilliantly colored sky. But is it as beautiful when you think about how every tiny smoke particle has so much chemicals it can make you sick and be the cause of your death? Everything looks perfect from a distance, but when you get closer you see the perfection gradually fading, making the image broken and wrong. But we know how to fix this broken image, and we can't do it alone. This is about to sound real cringe and cliche, but it's also the truth. We need you. What is air pollution? How does Google define it? Even Google knows that air pollution is harmful to all living beings, so why don't you? Air pollution is the presence of substances in the environment that are harmful to the health of humans and other living beings, or cause damages to the climate or to materials, which obviously in turn will harm us. If you want to go in depth and learn about air pollution, here are a few different kinds of pollutants: gases, particulates, and biological molecules.
Here's what air pollution does to us. When we inhale these chemicals, the particles lodge into our lung air sacs, and each of these microscopic particles manage to evade the body's natural defenses and destroy and damage our lungs. And let's keep this simple and easy, shall we? Lungs help us breathe. Without lungs, we can't breathe. Unable to breathe, we can't live. So if I were you, I'd stop whining about how life sucks and is boring, and I'd try to help myself by doing the one thing I can do, which will help me. Start small. Plant a tree. And maybe you don't care about your own life. Well, your factories that aren't finding methodical ways to dispose their waste and you cutting forests to build hotels and for paper are endangering the lives of so many animals. Every one of you who doesn't care about polluting the environment in blunt terms is a murderer. And I'm sorry you couldn't know about this sooner, before dozens of animals' deaths were on your conscience. Now is the time to make amends, and you can start anywhere, anytime. While you think about air pollution, let's talk about the bigger scale event that's happening because of it: global warming. Global warming is the long-term heating of Earth's climate system observed since the pre-industrial period between 1850 and 1900 due to human activities, primarily fossil fuel burning, which increases heat trapping greenhouse gas levels in Earth's atmosphere. And what will happen to us? The ozone layer will dissolve completely and ultraviolet rays will penetrate the Earth and all living beings will be incinerated. If the global warming continues, we'll find ourselves literally burning alive. Global warming, in literal terms, means planet Earth heating up, and for now it's not at a harmful stage where it will affect us humans, but it's at a stage where animals who thrive in cold climates don't have homes anymore because their ice is melting. This polar bear is on a small piece of ice surrounded by garbage, which has poisoned all the fish. So the polar bear has nothing to eat, and in time he will perish, and polar bears are near extinct species already. This polar bear is perched on a piece of ice, searching for his family. But how is he to know that his family is lying on the ground dead? He's lost everything, including his family and his home, and he didn't deserve this fate. We were the cause of this. We deserved this fate more than he did. This is all we ask from you. Live with the environment, not against it. Protect the environment, the animals, and in turn the environment will protect you. I hope this presentation helps you realize that your life is important and the world can do without air pollution and global warming. I'll end this with a joke, to lighten the mood, but I hope you'll sober down when I tell you global warming does in fact exist and global warming does in fact be endangering our own lives. Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Onadi. Next, we have Adisha Disanayake, who will be doing a presentation on green policies.
Policies to reduce your impact. Healing the damage we have done could take the work of centuries. But if enough people step up now, we can still make a difference. Every little decision counts. The first and most basic step would be following the 3 R's, namely reduce, reuse, and recycle. Carry a single stainless steel bottle around with you rather than buying plastic ones. Refuse to take polythene bags for your groceries and find new purposes for the ones you already have. Reduce paper usage by keeping your documents and correspondence in a digital device. Another common issue is the amount of carbon dioxide released by your daily activity. This is known as your carbon footprint and can be minimized very easily. The emissions from cars can be reduced by cycling or walking whenever possible. Growing your own vegetables and fruits or buying locally grown produce can also decrease your impact. Processing meat and dairy products is a major contributor to carbon emissions, so minimizing the consumption of such products will help you too. You can also switch off your electronic appliances when they aren't in use. Wastage of water is an equally important issue, but preventing this in your home is simple. Search for leaks in your faucets and repair them. Never leave a tap running while waiting for the water or while brushing your teeth. Install a tank for collecting rainwater and reuse cooking water on your plants. The third point of consideration would be energy consumption. Cutting down on your electricity usage will not only reduce your bills, but also contribute to going green. The most helpful choice would be to install solar panels, which, despite being costly in the short term, give long-term benefits. Use LEDs instead of incandescent bulbs, and when buying new appliances, choose ones which are energy efficient. Switch off lights and fans when not needed. Your contributions don't have to end there. Raise awareness among your friends and family and speak out on behalf of the environment. Volunteer at local tree planting programs or beach cleanups. You can join an environmental conservation team or even initiate your own. If you want more information, try visiting The World Counts, Carbon Footprint, or World Wildlife Fund. Start now and start small. One day you will realize you have made a difference. The earth needs you.
Thank you, Adisha, and all the panelists for your contributions. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you will join us in future endeavors to protect our fellow inhabitants of Earth and help us raise awareness for this cause.